On this problem, A is 3, so when you put it in here, you're going to square it to get 9. B is A minus 1, so that's a 2. And, of course, A is 3. This is negative 1. Squared is 1 times 2 is 2. Plus 2 is 11. On this problem, A is 4, so if I put 4 here and square it, I get 16. That's A minus 2, which is 2. A is 4. C is B plus 1, so that's going to be a 3. B is 2. This squared is 1 times 4 is 4. That's a 32, so you should get 36. On this problem, you're going to have A times B to start with. A is C divided by 2. C is 6, so that makes A 3. And while we're at it, B is A plus 1, so B is 4. So A times B is 3 times 4. BC is 4 times 6, and minus AC, that would be 3 times 6. This is 12 plus 24, which is 36. Minus 18 is 18. The winning number is 2. A and A plus tests from yesterday. Lake and Johnson and Ruark. Kleiber and Bruton. Carver and Armstrong. Garrett and Boyd. The test review. On problem 1, Joe picked 4 less than twice as many as Harry. That's 4 less. This is twice. X is Harry. So 2x minus 4. Like we just said, Harry is the X in the problem. And for John picked 3 more than twice as many as Joe. Here's 3 more. There's twice as many. And here's Joe in the parentheses. So you multiply through by the 2 to get 4x minus 8. You don't multiply the 3 by 2. You just add the 3. Negative 8 plus 3 is not 11. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. So 4x minus 5. A lot of the problems are people are trying to do these in their head, but they don't understand they haven't learned positive and negative numbers. And for some reason they think they can do it faster in their head, but they're getting the wrong answer. So use the calculator. Let this be the testing point. If you can't do it in your head, that's why I give you a calculator. So don't miss an entire problem that you could have had the right answer to, but because you tried to do it in your head and you can't do positives and negatives, you missed the whole problem. On number 4, Sally picked 8 more than twice as many as Joe. There's 8 more, there's twice as many, and here is Joe. 4x minus 8 plus 8. Minus 8 plus 8 cancels out to 4x. And then problem 5, you had to write the simplified form of the equation. This is it. And I had blanks on some of those answers because nobody knew what to put. Well, this is the simplified version, and we did this every day. When you solve that equation, you have to go back and plug in your answer for all of your expressions for each person. So Joe is 16. Harry was the X, so he's 10. John is 35. Sally is 40. Now for number 10, there was a bonus if you picked more than 20. So John and Sally both earned it. If you put John and Sally, you get all your points. If you just put one or the other, you get half of the points. But if you put one or the other with an incorrect name, such as John and Joe, I can't give you any for that. On number 11, what is the actual bonus earned if they get $1.05 for everything over 20? Well, John gets $15.75 and Sally gets $21. The question said, and I quote, "What is the sum of the bonus earned by the two people in question 10?" It doesn't mean write both numbers down, it means the sum. So you only have one answer, 3675, when you add those together. You must read the question and answer what it's asking. All right, problem B, you had the 5 cars, and for car 1 drove 20 less than half as many miles as car 2. There's 20 less, there's half as many, and car 2 is the x. So 1/2 x minus 20. Again, car 2 is the x. Car 3. Car 3 drove 30 less than twice as many miles as car 1. There's 30 less, there's twice as many. Car 1 is in parentheses. 2 times a half is just 1. 2 times minus 20 is minus 40. This is not minus 10. Again, put it in the calculator. Negative 40 minus 30 is negative 70, so x minus 70. For car 4, that person drove 8 more miles than car 3. Here's 8 more, and here's car 3. Negative 70 plus 8 is negative 62. And car 5 drove 50 less than car 4. Here's car 4. There's 50 less. Negative 112, so x minus 112. Go back and solve for each person, so that would be 80 for car 1, 200 for car 2, and that was the x. Car 3, 130. Car 4 is 138. Car 5 is 88. Now for question 22, the bonus is for those who have over 150. So car 2 was the only one. And their bonus was 267 per mile for the miles over 150. So they had 50 over, multiply to get 133.50. On 24, there's a fine for anybody not making it to 100. So car 1 and car 5 failed to make it to 100. And the fines were $5 for each mile that they were below 100. So this one was 20 below 100. 5 times 20 is $100. And $12 or 12 miles off there for car 5. So 12 times 5 is 60. Again, the question is asking for the sum of the fines. I even told you how many cars there were. I gave that away in the next question. What is the sum of the fines given to the 2 cars named in question 24? So if you only put 1 in 24, I gave it away that there were 2 in question 25. The sum means just 160. It doesn't mean write both numbers in the blank. I can't give credit for that. And so, well, in some cases I did if you had 160, but from now on it's just not going to happen. You must answer the exact question. For the bonus, it was negative 13. 14, 2, 2, and negative 3. If you have less than a 700, you can bring yourself to intervention when you have the time, and then we'll raise the test up. One excuse that is not acceptable is that you had to go to service learning, you had to go to music appreciation, you had to go to the gym. That's not going to work. Or you had to go to another teacher's class for science, social studies, or English in perpetuity, which means you never have time to come to Algebra 1 intervention. That will never be the case. There's always going to be time at some point for you to come in here. So if you want to raise it up to a minimum of a 700, it's up to you. But if you don't, then I'm not going to come find you somewhere else and drag you here when I have folks that come in that need help and want it. I need to spend my time with them. Here's the first example. You're going to graph y equals x plus 3. And to do this, you must know where to locate the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is just to the left of the x. And the y-intercept is the number at the end with the sign in front of it. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, which runs up and down. When there is no number beside x, what number is it? It is 1. Slope will always be expressed in terms of a fraction, even if you're only given one number. That fraction is the rise over the run. So if I'm only given one number, such as 1 in this problem, what should I put that 1 over? What number can I put any number over and make a fraction? 1, yes. If your slope is one number and not a fraction, you just put it over 1. The top number means you're going to go up or down, depending on if it's negative or positive. The bottom number means you go to the right always. So in this case, we have a y-intercept of positive 3 here. So your first move is to find positive 3 on the y-axis and make a dot. There's positive 3 on the y-axis. Now don't forget that we found the slope to be 1. When you have just a one number slope, you put it over 1. This means you go up. This means you go to the right. So we're going to go up 1 and then to the right 1. We go up 1 because it's a positive 1. That's why we go up. If it were negative, we would go down. So back to your y-intercept. You're going to go up 1 and then to the right 1 and make a dot. Once you do that, get your ruler out and draw the line. Here's mine. Anytime you draw a line, you must have arrows at either end. It must be straight, and it must go all the way through the coordinate plane. Here are examples of things I will not give credit for. Why am I not giving credit for this? Doesn't go all the way through. Why am I not giving credit for this? It's not straight and it doesn't have what? Arrows. Last period I had this turned in. What's wrong with that? No arrows. It doesn't. Well, I guess you could make a case that goes through the whole thing, but there's two different parts to it. You know, you lay the ruler down, you make a line, and that's it. But they come up here and argue the point, but they still don't get any points. So if it has a curve in it, a bend, you have two parts to it. There are no arrows. It's not straight. It will not count. Example 2. Graph y equals a negative x minus 2. What is our slope in this problem? Yeah, the slope is negative 1. So how do we rewrite the negative 1? Negative 1 over 1. The slope is always right to the left of x. In this case, it's a negative 1. If you just have one number, you put it over 1. Even if it were a 5 or an 8 or a 10, you would still put 5 over 1, 8 over 1, or 10 over 1. Our y-intercept on this is negative 2, so put a dot here on negative 2. And the slope is negative 1, which we have converted to negative 1 over 1. So that means we have to go down 1 and then to the right 1. We've gone down 1 here and then to the right 1 there. And make a dot where you finish. Now create the line. And put the arrows in. Here is the first practice. Graph y equals x plus 5. On the practice problem, we have a y-intercept of 5, so we'll put a dot on 5. Right there. And then the slope is 1, which we put over 1. So we have to go up 1 and then over 1. Here's up 1. There's over 1. Make a dot. And then go back through with your ruler and draw the line. Example 3. On this problem we have a y-intercept of -2. So when you find that, you go to your graph. Here's a -2 on your graph. And now the slope is 1/2. That means we go up 1 and to the right 2. So we'll go back over here. And from our y-intercept we go up 1 and then to the right 2 and make a dot. So then get the ruler out and mark them up. And put the arrows on it. In this case here, your slope is 3/2 and your y-intercept is -2. So go to -2 and put a dot. And since the slope is 3/2, you go up 3 and then to the right 2. Make a dot. And then get the ruler out and try to match them up. For this assignment, problems 1 through 5 are on page 1. Problems 6 through 10 are on page 2.